really doing this. Like I'm really doing this. I'm really about to tell some of the stories that I went through. How's everybody doing? I said I was gonna be doing something new. I want to do something new for 2022. If you recall, if you looked at my last post that I did on my second Instagram, I am Sensei 2022. I said I was gonna be doing story times. Now, I've been doing YouTube since 2011. My first YouTube channel, which is Trace Out Tommy, which you guys need to subscribe to. I've been doing that since 2011. Now, people that know me, people that watch my videos on my Instagram or on Facebook, know that I'm not a very talkative person. I'm a guy that usually, action speaks louder than words. That's always been my motto. That's always been me, pretty much my whole life. But I feel like, and this is how I feel about this, I feel like everybody feels like that their life is like a movie, and there are certain events that happen in my life that, that I want to share with the world. So with that being said, the first story time that I'm going to tell to you guys, which you probably already know by the title, is called Rides from Hell. Now, before I get into the story, I'm going to tell y'all, just like how I told y'all on my Instagram, my stories are 100% real. The only thing that I'm making up are the names, because I don't want to put nobody out there. I don't want to put nobody out on blast like that. So I'm going to need y'all to buckle up and hold on tight for the first story time of 2022. Let's go. Let's get it. Now, so the first ride from hell, I'm gonna take y'all all the way back to late 2014. I was in a relationship with somebody else at the time. For story's sake, we're gonna call her the nickname that you see of her all the time. We're gonna call her Kim Yona. I was in a relationship with Kim Yona, but this actually happened like 2 or 3 months after we made it official. Me and Kim Yona, we started dating late 2014. I asked her out before my birthday, September 1st. I asked her out on August 10th. And we were vibing with each other a lot, and we wanted to continue hanging out with each other, and then I eventually asked her out, and she became my girlfriend. That's gonna be the story of how I met her, and the story of how we became a couple. That's gonna be a story for another time, probably for another video. But for now, we're gonna get to the story at hand right now. So, me and Kim Yona, we were like in the honeymoon phase. We were going on dates like crazy. We went on a lot of movie dates. We went on a lot of dinner dates. We went to each other's cribs, all that. And this particular day, or I should say particular night, we wanted to go see another movie. But, the problem was at the time, we will always have, my mom will always, drop us off. Sometimes we will always take the bus going there, and sometimes my mom will always, drop us off back home. And that was only because, me and Kim, we didn't have driver's license, nor did we have a learner's permit at the time. So we couldn't drive, which I knew it was lame, especially for my part. I was really working hard to try to get my learner's permit way before I turned 18. I was 19. I was 19 at the time, especially around late 2014. So we asked one of our friends, to drive us there. And this particular friend, I would say this was Kim Yona's, one of Kim Yona's oldest friends. I don't know if she's friends with her now, friends with him now. But yeah, this was one of Kim Yona's oldest friends. So we get riding, and this is where things started to turn a little bit. He starts driving a little fast. Now, I'm used to people driving fast. I'm used to people driving, above the speed limit. That doesn't really bother me, but it was just, he has a certain car that's not meant for driving fast, because he has a small car. I can't think of the name of it right now. It was a small car, but it was enough to fit, it has a passenger side and a back seat and a trunk, but a window in the back of the trunk. You can see what's in the trunk. It was like that type of car. I can't think of the name of it right now. Somebody correct me in the comments and tell me what the name of that car is. So he picks up one of his homies, and I noticed that we're in DC. We're in the hood. I live in Maryland. I don't drive around DC, especially around nighttime. Now, this was kind of sus, but I didn't think anything of it. I thought this was just a quick thing. He was just gonna pick up one of his homies, get to where he needs to be, and we could just go on to the movies or whatever. So he picks him up, and again, he starts driving a little bit fast than usual, because he made a sharp turn and the car tips over. The car nearly tips over and we almost fell. But we managed to get back on track. That spooked me. And it just, okay, this is kind of a problem here, because now my heart's beating fast. And the next thing I know, we hear police sirens in the background. We get pulled over. This was the number one thing I was worried about. Him driving fast, and especially after that sharp turn, we get pulled over by the police. So we get pulled over. It's a white cop, by the way. He, as the typical, license and registration, and he noticed me and Kim. We were in the back seat, and he asked us for our IDs. Basically the usual stuff that, a normal cop should do. License, registration, and just let us off on a warning. Now, you would think that would be the end of it, right? No. Otherwise, what's the point of me telling the story? So, he lets us go, and I'm thinking, now we can finally get where we need to go. No! He picks up another one of his homies. We're still in DC, mind you. And I'm trying to figure out why is he still doing this? And how is he gonna fit in this car? Because there's his one homie is sitting in the passenger side, and both me and Kim, we're in the back seat. So this is what he does. He opens up, he pops up the trunk, and he sits in the back of the trunk, which, is illegal. You can't drive with a person sitting in the back of the trunk, unless you have a pickup truck or something. But no, he's sitting in the back of the trunk. Me and Kim are looking at him, we're like, what the hell? So now we're about to go, and now I'm just, okay, this is and I'm just looking around like, is anybody gonna say that this is not right? And you know how we got pulled over the first time because of his driving? Well, next thing I know, we get pulled over by the cops for the second time. It's a different cop this time, and he asked us to, well, he asked him in particular, the driver, to pull over. We pull over by like a liquor store, And of course he notices the idiot in the back of the trunk. At this point, we're pretty much sitting at the front of the liquor store. It was a liquor store or a 24-hour store. You know, one of those 24-hour stores that they have around, like, you know, like Giant and Safeway, or, you know, grocery stores and all that. It was that particular store. Now, this is where he calls another cop, and when he pulls over and when he gets out the car, it's literally the same cop, the same white cop that pulled us over before. So of course he recognizes us, and you know, my heart is dropping each minute. I'm looking at, we're sitting. This is how we were sitting in front of the liquor store, or 24-hour store. I was just literally sitting like this because it's cold. It's cold out here. It was cold out there. It was middle of the winter time. I think it was like November or like early December. It's cold. So I'm just freezing, and plus, you know, my heart is beating fast. I just want to go home at this point. And I'm looking at Kim, and obviously she's not saying anything. You know, I'm pretty sure that, you know, she's just as nervous as I am. So the cop recognizes, and this is where, you know, he kind of like searches the car, searches, you know, his car. And I'm thinking, okay, you know, maybe he'll just search the car, and, you know, he won't find anything, and he'll just let us go again. He actually finds something. He finds, it looked like an unlit blunt, but it was actually a cigar. And he was at that point where he couldn't smoke, where he wasn't allowed to smoke in the car. So of course the police, they question him for that, and he's just constantly denying it. He's constantly denying it. And I'm just looking at him like, if it's not, why is that? And he found it underneath the seat of the back seat of the car. So, you know, of course, you know, the cop is getting more heated, and he was like, if you don't tell me who this is right now, I'm going to lock everybody up. He didn't say that, and I quote, he didn't say that particular words, but he said something around those lines. And my life is flashing before my eyes. I'm getting more scared of what's about to happen. I'm thinking all the times, you know, I'm thinking about my life. I'm thinking about, you know, I didn't graduate college. You know, I didn't get married yet. Like, I'm gonna spend the rest of my life in prison because of somebody's ignorance. And that's where he kind of like comes clean and says like, okay, it's mine. Just please don't do it. Bruh, he actually let us go. And I knew if we got pulled over the third time, we were all gonna get locked up. So we got back in the car. Literally the first thing that he did was drive us all back home. That night was enough for all of us. We didn't need to go anywhere. And, you know, Kim was looking at me, and she felt absolutely guilty about it. And, you know, it's not her fault. You know, I was kind of like peeved at the dude who drove us around. But, you know, I was just thankful that I didn't go to jail. Now, what's up, y'all? So before I tell y'all the second part of the Rise from Hell,
I noticed while I was recording, the first part. I shouldn't say I was recording. The first time that I was editing, the first story time. While I was telling the second story time, which I'm about to tell you guys right now, I noticed that that part was cut off. And the reason why it was cut off because the video stopped recording. My phone stopped recording while I was telling the story. I'm like, what the fuck? But, anyway, I'm gonna tell you guys this story time while I'm walking. And plus, the reason why I'm walking is because, I'm getting my exercise in. Plus, it's a beautiful day out. So, I'm gonna tell y'all the second part of this story, Rise from Hell. So this actually takes place from a church concert. Me and my best friend, one of my best homies. He's like a brother to me. We're gonna call him by the nickname that I give him. We're gonna call him Rail. Me and Rail, we actually got to the church concert. We had rides there. I didn't have a license. I still didn't have a license. This was back in 2017. I still didn't have a license yet. My homie Rail did, but he didn't have a car. That was the only thing. So we couldn't get any rides back home. Our pastor, who was a deacon at the time, he had a car. Well, he had a Escalade actually, but he brought his family, so we couldn't all fit in the truck with him. But one of my longtime friends who I trained with in Taekwondo, we don't call him Dez. He actually arrived a little bit at the last minute. He arrived with one of his homies. He was sitting in the passenger side, and he picked us up in his mom's van. So we rode with him. So, we get riding. We're riding back home from a church retreat. It was a good church retreat. Church retreat. Not church retreat. Church concert. And we were listening to Lecrae. We're getting back home. And at first, it starts off normal. Otherwise, it wouldn't. Now, yeah. First off, it starts off normal. And where it gets hectic, this is where things start to get crazy. So, I started trying to drift off to sleep. Every time I try to drift off to sleep, I put headphones in and listen to my music and drift off to sleep. That's how I usually, if I'm not driving, that's what I usually do. But I start to smell smoke. I'm smelling smoke. And it's not cigarettes, it's not cigars. No, it's weed smoke. It's weed smoke coming from inside the van. It's Dez and his homie in the passenger side. Both of them are smoking. Both of them are smoking while they're driving. They are begging to get pulled over and drag us along with it. I didn't know that this is something that he normally does, or this is just something out of the ordinary. I immediately woke up and looked at Rail, because Rail was sitting in the third row. I was sitting in the second row of the van. He was sitting in the back. I looked at him. He's looking back at me. I didn't say anything to him. But he's reading my mind, and I'm reading his. We were telling each other, we're about to die. We're about to die. We're either about to die or get locked up. Because if we get pulled over, that's it. Not only was he smoking in the van while he was driving, he was also speeding. He was speeding he's a speed demon. He drives fast. I've driven with this dude enough, and he drives above the speed limit. Now again, just like how I said in the first part of the video, I have no problem with riding somebody who drives fast. My girlfriend drives fast all the time. Amber drives fast all the time. But he was going at least 70 or 80 miles while he's in traffic, while he's smoking, while his partner is flipping people off. And I'm starting to get nauseous. I'm starting to get nervous. if we get pulled over, that's it. Like that's a field day. That's a field day for a cop right there. Pulling a van over filled with black kids, smelling nothing but weed smoke popping out of the car. He ain't got to ask no questions. He can just apprehend us all. Click, click, click. Riding off to jail. Cause, you know, how we did not get pulled over, how Dez didn't get pulled over, number one, for smoking weed in the van while driving, and also speeding. Like, he's like increasing the amount of pressure. I don't know what Dez was thinking at the time. I don't know what he was thinking at the time, but he was kind of like far gone. I've been hanging around with him since like 2016. Plus, you know, there was a time where he was, you know, in jail for a little bit. And, you know, I've been hanging out with him that much no more. So, Dez, you know who you are. You know, if you're watching this, if you're hearing what I'm saying, you know, you almost killed us. I wouldn't be here today if we gotten pulled over. I wouldn't be here. You know, I really felt like the grace of God was with us that night. I'm just glad that we did not get locked up, man. Just thank the Lord, man. Oh my God, I was so fucking scared. Excuse my language. Me and Rail, we already knew what was up as soon as we, you know, smelt the weed smoke. But, you know, we made it. As long as we made it and we're still here, you know, that's all that matters. So, I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for me, you know, just strolling around, you know, the neighborhood, you know, and literally the first half is me sitting down. I apologize for that. You know, I didn't realize that the video cut off while I was telling this story, mind you. You know, again, that's the reason why I'm doing this right now. Now, that concludes Rise from Hell.
I got the whole block bumping. You ain't gotta like it 'cause